diagram for the toy crane and you're trying to calculate BC. Now, the first thing to always do on these questions is just to check that everything has been labelled. So AB is 25, we can see that that's been labelled just here. AC is 15, and we can see that that's been labelled. And the angle B to A to C, so this angle here, is 22, which has also been labelled. So we're trying to calculate line BC, which is this one here. And we're trying to work out which rule to use. Now we know that it's not right angled, and therefore we're using either the sine or the cosine rule. And we can see that we have two sides and an angle in between them. And therefore, if we're trying to find the third side, if we have three sides and one angle in the end, then we're using the cosine rule. So for the cosine rule, I have BC squared, so that's the one that I'm trying to find at the bottom, and that's equal to the other two sides added together, once they're squared, subtract, and then I have 2 times the other two sides multiplied together, times cosine of the angle between them. Okay, so one method mark is for writing that correct substitution into your cosine rule. And then we can either put that straight into our calculator. So you can go 215 squared and plus 25 squared. Oops. So I'm just using the delete key there. Minus, and then it's 2 times 15 times 25 times, and it's cosine of 22, and making sure that your calculator is in degrees. So you can see here it says degrees, and so my answer is 154.6121, and so on. So I'm writing the full answer because I now need to square root my answer. So second function, square root sign, and I want to just put my whole answer in. I don't want to risk miscopying it. I don't want to risk losing any accuracy. So I just put answer, and that gives me my final answer there, which is 12.4 to 3 significant figures. So 12.4 to 3 significant figures. And that is centimeters. You do need to include your units. So there's 1 mark for the question and 1 mark for the units. It does say here in the question what the units are. And then part B, it's asking you to find angle ABC. So A to B to C, if I draw that on, is this angle here. Okay, so this time I'm trying to find this one. And to do this, I'm going to need to use my sine rule. Okay, I can use the opposite pieces of information. So I have the one I'm trying to find is opposite side 15. And I also know that angle 22 is opposite the one that I have just found. You could also find the missing third angle, and you could do it from there as well afterwards as a checking method. So to do that, I'm going to use sine of ABC, which is the angle I'm trying to find, over the length opposite it. So I'm using this format of the sine rule where the angles are on the top, just because it makes it slightly easier when I come to rearrange it. If I was trying to find a side, then I would use it upside down, so to speak. Oops. So I'm just writing it in with all my values. And then from that, I'm going to rearrange it and find what the angle is. Now I could also do this on numeric solver. So I clicked math and up arrow numeric solver, clear whatever is in there, and I have a fraction. So I have sine of what I'm trying to find. So I'm going to call that x over 15. And then if I clear the second equation, my other side again is a fraction. Whoops. Sorry. So my other side is again a fraction, and I have sine of 22 over 12.4343. So I'm just going to click OK, which is the graph button, and then solve, and I can see that my answer there is 26.9 to 3 significant figures. So 26.9 degrees. Okay, so again, there are 3 marks awarded for that question. 1 is for the correct substitution into the sine rule, and then 2 are for the answer, for rounding it correctly and having the answer correct.